Trevin's going to be standing in the shadow of Mr. Feeney's big weenie.
Yeah, that's a big shadow.
Oh, wow. I think it's just you and me tonight.
I think we are riding solo tonight, Adam.
Yeah,
No guests.
No, let me look behind the tool shed real quick. Hold on. Yeah, no, nothing. It's just me and
you
you.
don't see a Mr. Feeney's big weenie behind there or anything.
No. I swear, if he was here, we'd be able to see him. We'd be able to see that big weenie.
I think you're right. Yeah. So no guests this week, Adam. So it's you and me.
I feel like I could unbutton the top button of my pants and everything, and just kind of relax a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I'm in a hotel room in Omaha, Nebraska right now. So
yeah,
there's not much to do other than like sit in your hotel and not wear pants. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Yeah, I need a little motivation tonight. You motivated me. I was ready to take a bye week. But we can't let the people down. I had to leave my coworkers early. But they knew that there's business to take care of. So we're here.
There's more important things to do.
We're here. I have a cold Modelo right next to me, and you're in first place.
Sole leader of first place here going on.
This is becoming Groundhog Day because we talk about it every week. You're in first place.
Listen, I know it's a nightmare for some people, but guess what? It's a dream for me. I've got to tell you, it's a dream. It's a dream come true. Just sitting here in first place, just looking back at everybody else not in first place. It's it's nice.
And Xander is supposed to come on this week to discuss his hot takes. He got scared and bailed once again.
Let me tell you something, Xander. You ever say that kind of stuff again in my house, I'll put you down.
He's too intimidated by Huck it, chuck it football. And he also got killed by Mr. Feeney's big weenie.
He really did, just destroyed. What a move by Craig. Listening to the people who know better, obviously, the people who know what he needed to do, what kind of moves he needed to make. And the move that he needed to make was a change from the old musket to Mr. Feeney's big weenie.
And I feel like you and I get credit for that because
we should.
When he was on a couple of weeks ago, we suggested the name change and he didn't do it, and he lost 2 weeks ago, but he won on Sunday. He had Jamar Chase, who yours truly traded to him, but he dominated Gene Steratore. He dominated Xander. Xander was claiming that he was going to win the league. Xander had a big performance from Lamar Jackson, but that's all he got. And Craig's going Jamar Chase and Calvin Ridley, Philly D, and Craig even had two people. Mason had 0.5, had half a point.
Yeah.
Siebert, the kicker from Washington, didn't play, and he had 0 points. So Craig was the highest scorer in week 10 without two people, pretty much. So
I mean, his name change got him 50 points. Yeah. His name change got him 50 points.
His name change guaranteed 50 points. I think you and I both said last week that we thought Craig was going to win. So
well, and I think it did hit the big weenie. He couldn't do Peony for some reason. The league wouldn't let him do Peony, but weenie was okay.
Which I don't understand. So so ESPN Fantasy Football wouldn't let him put Peony in the name, but they let him put weenie in the name.
Listen, it doesn't make sense, but I'll take it because I feel like the big weenie rubbed off on us as well. Because we both got wins as well.
You and I both won. Here's my question about Craig's team. Is it a little too late for Craig? That's what I'm worried about this week. Craig, he had a top performance, but he's still at the bottom tier, 3-7. Can he make the playoffs? I don't know.
It might be a long shot, but let me tell you something. If you haven't seen already, he's trying. He's making some extra moves. One that
You guys
included
made
a
a trade
trade
this
with
week,
me.
didn't you?
We did, and then he continued on and made another trade past that. I mean, he's trying his damnedest to get
He's
to
been
get
working
into
the
the playoffs
phones.
here. Yeah, he has. He has. He reached out and he's like, "Hey, Cressley, it's Big Weenie." I said, "Big Weenie, good to hear from you. What can I do for you, Big Weenie? As I'm sitting here in first place, you come to me asking for a favor." That's what he said. That's what I said to him. One thing led to another, and we ended up doing a straight up trade. Chuba Hubbard, his Chuba Hubbard, or my Chase Brown. Now, some people might be saying, "What the heck?" It's. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. Chuba Hubbard is currently ranked sixth place by position, whereas Chase Brown, I think he's 16. But Chase Brown is on the up and up, and he's actually playing this week, whereas Chuba Hubbard for this week is on bye. So he needs to make a move for someone to win, to help him win this week, and that was that's what he offered. Chuba Hubbard works for me because now I have a player next week to play whenever I'm going up against a certain person on the other side of this podcast.
It's you and I next week. Ooh.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I remember earlier in the year, you were a little concerned about your week 12 buys, so you're making some moves.
I am.
You're making some moves to solve for that. But you have two good running backs already in Kamara and Swift, so you're just kind of adding to your depth, which is going to be great for the stretch run here. I think we only have four regular season matchups left, and then we get into the playoffs.
And then exactly. I'm stacking up here.
Your team's looking pretty strong. I see. I mean, you put Joe Burrow back in for week 10.
Yeah, I kind of had to. He's the number 2 quarterback. I said, all right, I guess I can put him in over Bo Nix. I
was thinking about you. I was watching the Kansas City game and I saw him throw those 2 quick touchdowns. I'm like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. But you had a nice little cushion on Thursday night. I think Burrow had four touchdowns, 3 of those to Chase.
Yep.
3 of those to Chase. So you and Craig both kind of benefited from that big Thursday night matchup. And didn't they play Baltimore?
They did. And it was the second time that they played him where Joe Burrow, I think the first time threw 5 touchdowns. So I felt pretty good about starting Joe Burrow.
That was your justification for starting him, I think, last week. Mm-hmm. And it paid off. You're 7-3, sole position of first place, like you said. You still are the top point scorer by almost over 100 points at this.
It's actually 113.
So you've done the math.
I just kind of briefly looked at it. So
yeah, so you're looking good. I was looking at the playoff bracket. So right now, obviously, you're the number 1 seed. You have that bye. Xander's number 2, where we sit today. Mm-hmm. So you both would get buys. And it looks like as of now, it would be Trevin at the 3, Petrin at the 4, myself at the 5, and Gage at the 6. So but as we were talking offline before this, there's 6 people at 6 and 4 right now.
Yes.
So anything can happen these last few weeks.
It's wild. It is wild. That is so wild to see 6 people all tied for that second position. Obviously it's broken down by the total points at this point. Total points for to really put that in there. If everybody's record stayed the same for some reason, but things can change. This is going to be a wild next 3 weeks here. So
yeah, so let's look at the scoreboard from week 10 really quick. We obviously know that you dominated. You dominated Zegwin Beach. Jimmy.
I could have
I
put in
don't
Bo
want to shit
Nix.
on Jimmy. Yeah, you could have played Bo Nix and you could have benched half your team and still won.
Oh,
Um, Jimmy had a rough week. Jimmy only had 3 players that even scored in double digits.
yeah.
So
Oh, that's
he,
tough.
yeah, that was tough. And he didn't even, I mean, he had Metcalf out, he had Jordan Love out, but he still had a reasonably good lineup. But Hucka Chucka football was just too tough. Was just too tough for him. I think you pushed him. You pushed him out of a playoff position too.
Yeah,
So
he's on the outside of that bubble.
after last week when he came on and was talking about Drew being being
Paper Tiger.
being a paper tiger and being
and Drew changing his name.
Drew changed his name, and Drew still lost too though. So Drew's lost a couple in a row.
He did.
Trevin
But
beat
we didn't.
Drew.
We didn't tell Drew to change his name though. So that's he lost because we didn't tell him to change his name.
I wonder if that's why Drew lost, because only you and I should dictate the name changes, and it seems like it pays off. So who knows? Yeah. But it was a competitive week. The one matchup that was really intriguing and Petron got damn lucky is Taylor Gang beat Billy's best team by 5 1/100ths of a point.
Yeah. Well, to the layman, that's 0.05 points. Yes, that is. Oh my God, that's why we added the decimal scoring. But still, that's so close.
Yeah, 3 years ago that would have been a tie. Because we added the decimal scoring, I think, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
and that benefited Petron this week. I know he was complaining about his kicker who missed 3 field goals.
Yeah. Who does that? What kicker does that? What professional kicker does that? I'm on your side there, Petron. What kicker does that?
Apparently,
Young Ho
Koo.
Yeah,
is the one that does it. So
get him out of there.
He should be looking for a new job, but I think he's still with the team. But Adam could be scary down the stretch. Bijan Robinson's a stud. Zay Flowers is a stud. Terry McLaurin's a stud. Kelsey's coming back. Kareem Hunt looks good.
Yeah, he stashed that Kareem Hunt, a while ago.
Yeah, so he's looking scary. I don't know that although Craig's looking scary, I don't know that he would have to go on a huge winning streak to have a chance at the playoffs. He needed a little help from other people, but the playoff picture starting to shape up here, but I think we still have a couple competitive weeks, so I don't know that anything's set in stone, minus maybe yourself being there. Because there's a lot that could still happen.
There is. I don't bother to look and see what needs to happen for me to be clinched. But I feel like maybe one more win, I should at least clinch it. Yeah,
and what are you on the power rankings? You're number 1 in the power rankings now too.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in good shape.
Yeah,
it's great to see.
I feel pretty good.
Well, here's my question for you. And I know the answer is not Xander, but who makes you the most nervous as we go down the stretch run here in the season?
Yeah. Who makes me most nervous?
What team?
I'm kind of nervous about Gage's team. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know why. I think it's in the name. He's so just out there with that name of his, Billy Top, Trevin Bottom. That makes me nervous.
Yeah, because you certainly don't want to turn into Gage Top, Adam Bottom by the end of the year.
Exactly. That's what makes me nervous. I do not want to end up on the bottom of that particular name.
No, I wouldn't want to either. So you're worried about Gage, you're not worried about Trevin, you're not worried about Drew.
Listen, Trevin, that son of a bitch, beat me at 200 points in the second week. I ain't forgot about that. I ain't afraid of you. because I'm going to take you down if I have to.
I
But
love to hear it.
currently right now, if the playoffs were this week, he'd be going up against Gage, and that'd be a wild match, Gage versus Trevin in the playoffs. So that'd be a fun one to watch, but we'll see if it shakes out that way.
Yeah, and I mean, it'd be fun to have the two of them come on here and banter back and forth too if they had a
Oh
matchup in
man,
the playoffs. Because
yeah. I'll tell you what, if there's a weekend where you and I both just want to take off, maybe they could step in and just do it themselves.
you could just hit record and we could just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be horrendous.
Mm, you know, who knows?
But let's see what else. Like,
yeah.
Anthony had a win. He took out Gage.
He did.
I know you said Gage makes you nervous, but Gage scored the least amount of points in the league last week.
He really did.
Even less than Jimmy, but he still has a winning record.
The sad thing is that Gage couldn't even make it to 69 points. It would have been great, but no, he was 0.2 points away from it. Way to go.
He'll never know the feeling.
No,
he'll never know the feeling of what 69ing is.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's sorry, Gage. I know.
All right, man. You know, I feel bad for you. I mean, I don't know. Does he even get the chance to get up against Mr. Feeney's big weenie? You know, could he touch the tip of that? You know, who knows? I don't know if it's in the cards. I don't know if it's in the cards for him this year. So
I don't know. I mean, Gage always seems to be in the top half of the league, but he might be a little intimidated here coming to the end of the season. Anthony killed him. So we'll see. The other one, I mean, Sean played Tony.
Yep.
Sean's making a quiet little run here too.
A little sneaky. He's got some good players on the team.
Yeah, Sean, Lone Rangers. Sean always makes me nervous. We've talked about that before.
He's the silent. He's like a quiet fart. It's a silent killer. I don't know why I keep saying bad things about him. This is not good. I don't mean to say that about you, Sean.
We love you, Sean.
Exactly. That's it. Why did I say that? I didn't mean, because I said something.
What is he? What is he? 2-0 since you called him a $2 hooker?
Exactly. I didn't mean it, man. I didn't mean it.
Maybe that's the motivation. Maybe that's the motivation the Lone Rangers needed.
It could have been, and you're welcome. Then you're welcome for that.
Yeah, but I think Craig was saying that he was picking Trevin to make a nice little comeback and have something to say during the playoffs. And taking down Drew is a pretty big deal. He's won 3 in a row. Drew's lost 3 in a row. So illegal touching is looking to make a name for himself too.
Yeah, listen. It's scary what can happen, but I ain't scared, actually. I take that back. It's not scary.
But do you know who else?
I like to flip-flop between being macho and all that. I don't know if you've noticed that.
I know you do. Do you know who else is on a 3-game winning streak?
Who else is on a 3-game winning streak?
Brian Exotic.
You're damn right it is. Look at that.
Brian Exotic's had to grind out a couple wins the last couple of weeks. I got pretty lucky with this Pierce guy Alec Pierce. I'd never heard of him until this week. He got a touchdown at the end of the game. This kicker for Detroit, who was selling bricks last year, wasn't even playing football, is absolutely he won the game on a 53-yard field goal. So I don't want to say luck is what's happening here, but I was looking at before the Sunday night game. JJ and I were like a freaking dumpster fire, the both of us. I thought we were going to both be low scorers. Yeah, I got pretty lucky.
Yeah. I even remember looking at your guys' score at one point on Sunday, and I was going to text you and be like, way to have the boringest matchup this week.
Oh, it was so boring until Sunday night. Yeah, it was so boring. I mean, Daniels, I shouldn't have even started him because my theory is I don't like to have Steelers or people that play against the Steelers, but
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I couldn't bench him because Trevor Lawrence was hurt. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of buys. I had a lot of buys last week, so I got lucky with the win. So put me in a playoff position. I'm happy that we're there, but we're not there yet. We still got some work to do. So
Listen, you're primed. You're in position to get there and stay there. So you just got to execute. It's all about the execution. It's
yeah,
like trying to do a fake punt, and you just got to execute. It might be the
just
right
gotta
time, but
execute.
you gotta execute.
This is the time of year to execute, and we'll talk about this in a couple of minutes. I have a huge matchup this week
Ooh,
that
baby.
we'll talk about shortly. But you want to look at why don't we look at some of the superlatives? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, let's get into it. Why don't we take a look at what's going on behind the
Behind the tool
tool
shed.
shed? Yeah, what I'll do is I'll
That was
just
my Modelo voice coming up.
what I'll do is I'll go into the recording and like speed it up so it sounds like regular instead of slow mo.
Yes,
No,
do that.
we both know I ain't gonna do that.
No, you're okay. But why don't you give yourself some credit? So we're looking at
Hey,
what a week for Huck It, Chuck It.
it was a week for me. I was half a point away from 150 points, which is pretty good, one of my higher scores. But listen, I was up against Jim Zagama Beach, and Zagama Beach is best served wiping this one from their memory after getting walloped. 149.5. Walloped. I added an H into that. Walloped. A walloping. 149.5 to 77.75 points. Listen, Jonathan Taylor takes no solace in his team high 15.2 points for him, since it wasn't enough to get the win. It must be painful to try so hard to carry the team and watch your opponent walk away victorious. Zagama Beach takes their 5-5 record into the next week against the Lone Rangers.
So you have to read between the lines there. Is that statement about Jonathan Taylor telling us that Jonathan Taylor is looking to make a move away from Zagama Beach? Is he demanding a trade?
He might be. I would be considering it if I was, Jonathan Taylor, and I'd be talking to my agent saying, "Hey, is there anybody out there that might want to pick me up?"
I mean, I'd gladly say that I would be open to trading for Jonathan Taylor if you're listening. So let's talk about it.
I think he is one of the 2 or 3 people that do listen. So, Jim,
we got to give ourselves a little more credit than that. Episode 1 has like 86 views.
It's freaking wild. It's taking off, man. We're getting sponsors and everything.
Hey, I've been telling people about it. I've been telling my coworkers they want to listen.
Mm-hmm.
My one coworker's wife loves football. She's listening. So
there we go.
I mean, we have a female listener. I can't even get my own wife to listen.
We got one in the female demographic. Yes,
that's all we need. But yeah, so you had a great week, man. I mean,
I feel good about it too.
Not that it's anything we wouldn't expect, but if you look at the top scorers, another wide receiver again this week.
Man, it's the receiver QB combo. Jamar Chase. I mean, he's number one. He's been number one for quite a while. And that's because he catches them balls and he scores them touchdowns. And guess who's throwing it to him? My boy,
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. And it looks like if you look at the picture, this must be pre lesbian haircut.
Yeah, I don't see his frosted tips there.
No.
So this must be an old photo.
I think it's an old photo.
Yeah, there's part of me, I look at these Jamar Chase stats, there's part of me that's living with a little regret from trading him. But at the same time, Mr. Feeney's big weenie's not in the playoffs right now, and I am. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But the person that we love to hate is number 3 on the list, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I know we have to pause our regular scheduled program to allow ourselves to shit on Baltimore.
Yeah.
This might be the last week because they play the Steelers on Sunday, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. He ain't gonna be on there. And listen, too, if you think about this, he's in the 3rd position of top scoring players. When you're talking about numbers and one through 3, number 1 is pee, number 2 is poo, and what's number 3? Diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
You're right, diarrhea, and I think it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and I mean, didn't they lose?
They said, "Oh man, did they ever?"
So I was watching that game. It was a good game, but
hey,
actually no, they won. They won. I'm sorry.
No, they always lose in my book.
Well, they always lose in my book but it was. I mean, they didn't win. Cincinnati lost because
that's the thing.
Cincinnati went for that dumb 2-point conversion at the end of the game.
God. Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you got to play that game to overtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you know what? I'm not giving Baltimore a win there. I'm giving Cincinnati a loss.
We are standing by our statements on this one. They lost.
They lost.
They came away with technically a win, but they lost.
Yeah.
That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt their morale.
It has to. It has to hurt their morale coming into Pittsburgh week, and Pittsburgh is arguably their biggest rival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is it. I think Lamar Jackson's like 2-4 against the Steelers. So just throwing that out there too.
Yeah, I think not to make an early take. I think the Steelers are looking a little better than maybe people give them credit for this year. I'm not saying that just because I'm a fan.
And I'm not trying to say too much about them because listen, every time I say anything good about them, let's just
the last
keep it
thing
chill.
We want is Xander coming on next week talking shit.
Oh, you got it. I swear, if we might have to do our bye week next week.
Well, the best part is I told him he could bring his high school age son on with him.
Okay.
Who I get along with very well, who makes absolutely ridiculous hot takes. So when they both come on, they'll have a lot to say, and that's going to open up the 16 to 32 demographic for us to get more views. So
he better tell all his friends to listen.
I told Xander that was the stipulation to bring Jack on. So
in fact, get into the high school's PA system and just play it over that. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
whatever their high school is, we'll be like, hey, high school so and so, it's your boys, Dan and Adam.
Look at the most valuable bench warmers. I mean, you had Bo Nix there. But obviously,
isn't that wild?
Doesn't matter. It's wild because you had Burrow, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And Gage not playing Derek Carr. Who did he go with instead? Who was that? I'll look here really quick. No, go to the right one. Here we go. He went with Justin Herbert instead. Which is a
reasonable choice, but
yeah.
Nobody expected Derek Carr to be Atlanta this week. So
yeah, it is. It's wild.
And then Russ Wilson. I mean, Russ is cooking right now.
Hey, I need to go back because that was incorrect. I was looking at Billy's team. That's not. I wasn't looking at Gage's. Billy, he went with Brock Purdy instead.
Oh, Gage had Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
No,
I don't
Brock
know.
Purdy's on
Am I looking at the
team.
Yep, Baker Mayfield. I don't know. Listen, there must be something in this Sprite bottle because I can't.
Do you have some scissor? Do you have some scissor in there or something?
I would listen. That was not good. He went with Baker Mayfield. Would that have made a difference? No. I don't think it would have. So, still.
Yeah.
You made
still.
But yeah, Russell Wilson though. Tony might want to think about putting him in certain. I don't know if I'd play Russell Wilson against. Nah, fuck it. Play him against Pitt,
Oh, I feel like you
against the
have to play
Ravens.
Russell
Yeah.
Wilson against Baltimore. They have a shit
Yep.
defense.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You got
I
to
mean,
do it.
I hate to get like prematurely excited, but Steelers offense with that Mike Williams coming in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, their receivers look good.
Yeah.
Najee's just running over people.
I actually felt good about when they had to make a fourth quarter comeback. Like,
Yeah.
I felt excited. I was like, yeah, we could do this.
And they beat who's arguably, a really good team. I mean, I have Jaden Daniels as a false starter. He only had 10 points this week.
That's what happens when you go against the Steelers. Remember that.
Fortunately for me, we still got to win. He's not in good company. He's not in good company as false starters. Aaron Rodgers, who the program doesn't like.
Yeah,
and obviously Sam Darnold leading to the demise of Zegema Beach as well. So,
yeah,
not great company there.
No, the false starters are all quarterbacks, and that's a shame when the false starters are quarterbacks. That's not a good week of football for a lot of people.
But if you look at the game changer, which is Jamar Chase,
yep,
we've talked about it ad nauseum already, but Craig had to, and we'll have to ask him, but Craig had to have felt so good going in, after Thursday night having like a 63. Oh no, I guess Lamar Jackson scored 40, so he still had about a 15-point lead after Thursday night with Xander's best player going. So that had to make him feel good.
Yeah, it had to make the big weenie feel good.
Yeah, the big weenie maybe probably went from 6 to midnight on Thursday night. So good for the big weenie.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he's feeling good about it.
Yeah, I'm sure Eric Matthews was quite happy looking at it too. So
yeah,
good for Jamar Chase. Good for the big weenie.
He definitely deserves the game ball. He deserves the game ball.
I think you and I deserve the game ball because we are
the game changers, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm going to change this graphic for next time.
Craig needs to come on here and give us a little credit.
I think so. I think he needs to legally change his name to Mr. Feeney's Big Weenie now.
Oh yeah, even like his real name.
Yeah, exactly.
Craig Feeney Weenie Belts. But who not to move on prematurely, but
no, hey.
Who do you have this week, Adam?
Who do I have a win this week?
Who are you playing this week?
Who am I? Well, listen, I got Billy Weaver. It's your week, man. Try to take down the top dog, and I'll tell you what. I won't feel terrible if he takes me down. I'll feel good for him. He's had a rough year. He's had a rough year, the first year with us, and I mean, he's not going to be able to. I'm sorry, Billy, but
I think you need to give yourself a little more credit. Don't talk yourself into a loss again. Give yourself some credit. Have some confidence going into the final stretch of the season. Everybody in this league is competitive, but you might be able to sleep your way through this matchup this week.
That's why I felt good about trading away Chase Brown this week here for Chuba Hubbard, who's on bye. So I'm getting another running back to replace my running back, my third running back, but he's on bye. So I have to run with Cooper Kupp as my number one wide receiver, and both receivers for San Francisco, Debo and Juwan Jennings. So I feel like I'm still going to be all right.
I see you have an interesting tight end choice this week too, in Taysom Hill. I mean, does he not have? I thought he had quarterback eligibility in our league, but he might not. I was going to say maybe he throws a touchdown pass too.
There's a possibility. Exactly, anything's possible with him, and they might try and do that. They've been doing some wild things with Taysom Hill, and he hasn't had a wonderful week every week, but every once in a while he has something pretty fun. So we'll see what happens with that. He was hurt a couple times, uh, so and so it's Taysom Hill for me. It's Taysom Hill or Zach Ertz, and Zach Ertz didn't do much against the Steelers last week, and I don't know
He
if he's
was
going to do much.
invisible.
Exactly. In fact, he couldn't even make it to first down.
No, he
So,
couldn't.
so you know what? While I'm glad that he didn't make it to first down, I'm also like, nah, buddy, you got to go on the bench for a week for that.
So are you calling a win for yourself this week?
I'm going to call a win.
Are you gonna make a statement?
I'm gonna point to the fences. I'm gonna throw the damn ball over the uprights with my own arms. I'm not gonna kick it. I'm gonna throw a field goal, and I'm gonna dunk that field goal post. And I'm gonna take the win. Billy, nice try. Better luck next year.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it from the source himself.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He's going to 8-3.
And I feel like I'm gonna hang on to my sole position at first place.
Yeah, I think you can. I mean,
What about you though? You have a pretty favorable matchup as well. No, you don't. Let me look at this again. Let me look at this.
Yeah,
Ooh, boy.
I play Petrin this week, who is right ahead of me in playoff positioning. He's also projected to beat me by about 21 points.
Who's he rolling with at QB so far?
Right now he has Rodgers in there, which I think he's going to end up sticking with because I think he dropped. No, he still has Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams is kind of fallen out of favor. Chicago's not playing that well. He has Anthony Richardson, who's not that great, but he has scary running backs and scary receivers. So I think no matter what Aaron Rodgers does, he's looking at some production for his skill players, which scares me.
You know, it's wild too. If we didn't make that trade at the beginning of the year, he'd also have Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, he would. So I've been too overconfident this year in my team. I know I'm 6-4, but I'm not going to make a major statement about this being a must win. That I'm going to shit all over Petrin. He has a good team, but I think Brian Exotic can be competitive. I think Daniels can come back against Philly tomorrow night and have a couple touchdowns. Still waiting on Chubb to get going, but I have a bunch of guys coming off bye. So I got Najigba coming off bye. I got Chubb coming off bye. I have Jaden Reed coming off bye. So I think we can be competitive.
And now too, I'm looking at you got ETN, as your flex, and Jacksonville has now said that they're going to roll with Mac Jones, I think.
Yeah.
So that might mean, yeah. So they might be running the ball a little more.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna. I was trying to work a trade with Craig this week. I was trying to get a different tight end and a receiver. I was about to send Nick Chubb back to him, but we just couldn't. We just couldn't make a deal. We just couldn't make a deal work. So
no,
we're gonna run with who we have and hope that we can take down Petrin to solidify some playoff positioning. Because I'm still on the bubble. So I need every win I can get before the end of the season here, and hope I can sneak my way into the playoffs. And as we all know, it's a whole different season once you get to the playoffs. So you just got to get in.
I don't want to burst your bubble next week, but just saying. I hope you're able to get yourself in a good part in the middle of that bubble, because when I bust it next week,
we're gonna have fun next week talking about our matchup. I'm pretty excited to talk about.
It's been coming. It's been in the works for a long season.
The next 2 weeks will probably be fun to talk about. Our impending matchup next week, and then what the outcome is the following week. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens. I just hope that it's competitive and you don't beat me by 100 points or something, because I may not be able to show my face again if that happens. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yeah, yeah. We're still on week 11 here. We'll see
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah. But I was looking at. I'm curious. I'm curious if there's anything else you're looking at for week 11. I know we talked a little bit about your matchup. You have
Oh,
Billy, who you think you can just kind of, roll right over. But there are some pretty competitive matchups this week,
there's a
from what I
really
understand.
tight one against Tony and Drew.
Tony and
Tony's.
Drew.
Oof, man. Tony, can you come through and and kick Drew down with another loss?
He's projected to win by about 1.5 points.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm sure Jimmy's cheering for Tony because of the statement he made last week, about Drew being kind of on the cusp of the playoffs.
Yeah. But you know what? Listen, I keep shitting on Drew. I don't mean to shit on him. I'll tell you what, Drew, I respect you, and I'm going to say you're probably going to get the win on this one.
I don't know that I feel the same amount of respect because he changed his name without us telling him to. So,
yeah, that's a good point.
But it's also hard for me to go back on everything I've said earlier this year that it's hard to bet against him. I mean, Tony's 3-7. I think Drew wins this week too.
Yeah, I think he does.
I think it's close in the experts.
Tony's going to make it close.
Yeah, Tony's going to keep it close, but I think Drew comes out on top this time. So
yeah, yep.
We'll see. Did you look at the one of the ones that really intrigues me? I know we've talked about both these guys a little bit already, but Mr. Feeney's Big Weenie versus Illegal Touching. Is Illegal Touching going to touch Mr. Feeney's Big Weenie and get a win this week?
That's if he dares.
If he dares.
If he dares touch Mr. Feeney's Big Weenie, it will definitely be an illegal touching, first of all.
Yeah.
We're going to have to call a foul on that.
I don't think I can bet I don't think I can bet against Feeney's Weenie. I mean, it's been around for a long time.
It has. It's aged.
It's aged wise. Gracefully. Mm-hmm. It's wise.
Yep. It has
been around the world a couple.
Affected many a boy.
Yeah, he's been around the world a couple times, and I think as much as I respect my fellow Bell Township homie and Trevin, and he has a very competitive team. Until Craig loses with a new team name, I'm not going to bet against him. So I'm going with Craig in that matchup.
Yeah. Trevin's going to be standing in the shadow of Mr. Feeney's Big Weenie.
Yeah, that's a big shadow.
It is,
So we'll see. And the other thing is, I know I've tried to spite Gage a lot, and Gage is going up against JJ, who they'll just argue till they're blind in the face. But I think I beat JJ last week. I think JJ comes back and beats Gage, and I said this last 3 weeks. I just picked that just to spite Gage. So we'll see where that one goes.
Yeah,
because JJ still needs to make a couple changes in the lineup, and he's already projected to win. So
yep, yeah, and it's hard to bet against Christian McCaffrey coming, being back and had a good first game. Could have been better, I mean, he got 16 points the first game, but you kind of you don't want him getting hurt in the first game either. So. Good first game, but let's see him get like into the 20-point range. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see out of CMC.
I think he'll be okay. He'll be okay this week, and I think that's going to be really useful for JJ. And it's just going to be a blip on Trev's radar because I think Trev's going to make the playoffs. But I'm sorry, she's not playing Trev. I think it's going to be a blip on Gage's radar. Gage is probably going to make the playoffs, but
it'll also be a blip on Trev's radar too, though.
It will. Trev will look at it and not care because even though I picked Bisping Big Weenie, Trev still has a strong team. It's just going to be a down week for a couple of the more competitive teams, and Trev and Billy top, Trev and bottom. The other one I'm excited about is, I don't know if you looked up at the matchup between Anthony and Xander.
I knew you into this one next.
Yeah. So why don't you cook on this one, Adam?
Well. What do we have here? Team Gene Starrett tore his meniscus against Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget is projected to get 113.2 points versus a 97.8, a measly, gross looking, not even 100 points projected total. Well, I mean, he does have Bucky Irving on bye.
And Malik Neighbors.
Man, feels good to be right. That's all I can say. He's gonna his stock is taking a dump.
I'm curious. Let me look at where has he gone in the power rankings?
I think he's up there, but
no, he's still third in the power rankings.
Okay.
He's behind Petrin and yourself. So.
Wouldn't you know?
Wouldn't you know?
Jeez.
But it should be, if he actually joins us next week, like he says he's going to. I'll be curious to hear how he feels about his team after he loses again this week to Anthony.
Yeah. And Anthony, way to go, man. Get a win this week here and put yourself in a good position to maybe sneak into the playoffs as well.
Yeah. So the other one is, I think the only one we haven't talked about is Sean versus Jimmy. Jimmy's kind of on the he's kind of looking in. He's on the mend. He's on the outside looking in. They're projected to have a pretty close matchup. But after Jimmy's week last week, I know he's made some changes in his lineup, and we'll see where he performs. But Sean's pretty hot right now too. So I think you have to continue to. I think Adam, you have to continue to talk shit on Sean until he loses, because he's been winning every time you talk shit to him.
That's true. And listen, Amon-Ra St. Brown has been just a great wide receiver this year. He's number 6 in the league, but like he's been very consistent. I'm looking at his totals here. He had his first week was a down week, and his 8th week was a down week. But other than that, it's been in 20, 23, 20, 22, 13, 26, 18, 18.
He's scary.
That's a scary player. Exactly.
Yeah, he's scary.
It's not like he's a boom or bust kind of player. He's consistent. And so that's scary. And then obviously he's got Derrick Henry. I don't even know who Derrick Henry plays for. I don't think we need to mention that. But
Derrick Henry's the only reason that his team is relevant. So
yeah, yeah,
and he's gonna get shut down. This week by the Steelers.
Man, he's gonna just run into that wall, and it's gonna be, over.
Exactly. So I'm excited. I'm excited for week 11. I think, it's looking at it on paper. Adam, obviously we don't know what's going to happen, but
yeah,
it seems like we're looking at a very competitive week. We're going to start to see the playoffs kind of start to form. Yeah, who's in, who's out. There's a lot of good matchups coming up the next 4 weeks here. So I think as we approach the stretch run, we're going to see a lot of change in positioning, especially in the middle of the league. But it should keep things interesting for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, buckle up, boys. That's all I can say.
Buckle up, boys. Buckle up, boys. Wild. It's going to get wild. It's going to be a good week. Keep active in the group chat. Keep those trades up. Our trade deadline's not till the middle of December. So we still have some moves that can be made. And Adam, just for you and me, I hope we both We both come out with a victory this week, and for content purposes, if somehow you and I could get together in the playoffs, that might make things even better.
Oh
But Week 12
man.
might determine that. Week 12 might determine that.
Oh man. All right. Yes. We'll see how week 12 goes for you and see if you want a piece of this Huck It Chuck It football.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of Huck It Chuck It.
Oh man.
I know where your
Hey,
weaknesses are.
what's the timestamp on that? Because I'm gonna have to save that.
Yeah.
And put that as a clip.
You heard it here first. I am not scared of Huck It Chuck It. I am not scared. I'm actually excited to hear how you talk yourself into me beating you next week.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kill you with kindness.
Yeah. And just because you listen to the Golden Rule and you're such a gem and a class art, it's probably gonna come bite me in the ass, but we'll see.
Yeah. See how that goes for you, huh?
Yeah. Let's get through week 11 first.
Hey, let's get through week 11, and let's just say, frig off, man.
Frig off, Adam. Frig off.
Frig off.
Frig off. Even frig off more going into week 12.
Frig off. You frig off more going into week 12.
No, you frig off more.
No, you frig off, and I'm going to end this with me saying frig off.